Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Ralph, and welcome to London Zoo 1904. Now, as the name might suggest, this is a recreation, as closely as I can make it, of London Zoo in the year 1904. So I'm working from old photographs, postcards, guidebooks, written descriptions, and just making it as accurate as I can make it. As you might be able to tell, animal welfare has come a long way in 120 years. So I'm excited to start showing this to you. I thought I'd start with one of the newest buildings, as far as my building it, the Reptile House. So the Reptile House was completed in 1883. And at the time, it was also known as Jumbo's Gift, because a lot of the money needed to build it came from the sale of the famous elephant, Jumbo, to P.T. Barnum, where he met a tragic end not long afterwards, unfortunately. But this was London Zoo's second reptile house. The first was originally a house for large carnivores before they were moved elsewhere. It's not the most famous reptile house, of course. That opened in 1927 and has recently closed, actually. So they're onto their fourth now. So let's have a look inside. So in this projecting porch, there were these small cases which were used for amphibians, which didn't require such a high temperature as those inside the house. So we've got southern mud frog, we've got some tree frogs in here. This is for the American bullfrog, so if we compare this with the in-game exhibit boxes, we can see that, yes, Planet Zoo and the year 1904 have very different ideas when it comes to how to keep these animals. So in the building proper, we have animals that need a slightly higher temperature. All of this would have been done with hot water pipes, so not the most accurate way of keeping things at a consistent temperature. So there would have been hot water pipes running through these, which would have warmed these exhibits. So here we've got some smaller lizards, we've got chameleons in here. Got the fantastically named Derbian zonure. Not really sure what that is. But all of these I've tried to make them sort of make sense for what they should have in them. And of course, none of them have got animals in-game. So the chameleons have got some stuff to climb on. Then, coming around the walls, we have these fixed cases for larger lizards on this side. So I've got blue-tongued lizard in here, for example. So this glass would have all been fixed. And the only way to access the enclosure would have been through these hatches at the back, which lead into a service corridor. So yeah, lizards all along this wall. And then this wall is primarily for the larger constrictors. Obviously, I can't get anything in-game to fit in here, so I've made do with ropes. I am no Drac. My fake animals are quite a lot less refined than his. At the ends of each of this row were tanks set up for interesting fish. So we've got the Australian mudfish here, what we now call a lungfish. Oops. It's fish and constrictors, although I know that by the 20s at least, one of those end tanks housed baby crocodiles. And here we've got some electric eels as well. And then along this wall, you'll notice that the hatches are slightly higher up. That is because this wall is all venomous snakes. So that's to help prevent escape for these potentially dangerous animals. We've got puff adder in here. The horrid rattlesnake. Well, that was quite good. So those are all taken from a 1904 guide. So all of these species are species that were kept at the time. And here we've got some amphibians that require higher temperatures. So fire-bellied newts, Spanish pleurodile, again, not entirely sure what that is, long-fingered frogs, so they're entirely aquatic. All fake water, so that's just glass panels. Couldn't get water to behave itself in such a small area. And then the most obvious feature are these large pools in the middle. So I've got 3 of them, 2 smaller ones on each side and 1 larger one in the middle. And these were all used for crocodilians of various sorts. I think when it first opened, they were terrapins and turtles in these smaller ones, but they were moved to the tortoise house, which is next door, when that was opened. So these were arranged by size, so you've got the smaller ones in the side tanks, so that the bigger ones don't eat them. Then these are the slightly larger ones in here, and then the big ones in the middle. So this isn't quite accurate to how it looked. It's as near as I could make it in game, but we all know what the traversable area of the crocodilians is like. This should be a lot more cluttered. There should be logs and rocks and a couple of little resting points for them out of the water. But I thought it was better to try and actually get animals in here. And these bars around the outside should be a bit taller as well, but I thought the fork, these are forks by the way, they had a nice little curve to them that, I don't know, I thought it was close enough that it looked pretty good. So my rule with this recreation is that I'm only doing staff areas if they can be seen from the outside, and they're only really made to look good from the outside. So here is the service corridor. This is for the venomous snakes with the raised hatches and a little ladder to access them. These little padlocks control the slides in between each exhibit. These are supposed to be shed snake skins, because I read somewhere that they had shed skins hanging up in the service corridor. So I guess those were sort of, good souvenirs for the keepers. Yes, ignore this ugly little corner. So you're going around. These are some staff rooms which sort of mirror the porch on the other side for amphibians. I'm not really sure what would have been in here, but I've assumed that there would be a boiler in here somewhere. That seemed like a reasonable assumption. Got some crates here. Perhaps they've got, rats or mice in them, something like that. And then I know that one of these rooms was for the head keeper, who was called Mr. Tyrell, who seemed an interesting gentleman, but he had a small tank in his rooms, which he kept baby crocodiles in. And I assumed he'd have somewhere to sit down and have a cup of tea as well. That's at least what I would want in my private rooms, giving him some snake skins as well. So this, yes, Mr. Tyrell seemed like interesting sort of fellow. I think he looks like a bit of a creep from the photos, but you can't judge from appearances. But he was a bit of a celebrity and would walk around with, pockets full of venomous snakes and baby alligators and bring them out to show people. In 1904, zookeeping was a much more interactive profession, which it isn't so much now. If someone wanted a closer look at an animal, you'd just grab it and bring it to them. So, yes, rather glad it's not like that now, as I am with quite a lot of aspects of this build, to be honest. So there we are, the Reptile House. The building still stands to this day, although it's now called the Blackburn Pavilion. It was converted to house tropical birds after the new Reptile House opened in 1927, and it's since been redesigned and now contains a large walkthrough exhibit. I'm hoping to use what I've learnt from this first video to make some longer ones, really, tours of different sections of the zoo and that sort of thing. I'm about halfway done with it, nearly finished the South Garden. If you know how London Zoo is made up, it's made of 3 parts, one very large south bit and 2 slightly smaller bits split by a road and a canal. I'd like to do tours of larger sections of it. So if you liked what you saw here, let me know. If there was anything you didn't like, let me know. I will work on those. and hopefully use what we've learned in this one to make the next one even better. But for now, I'll join these guys exiting through the south entrance here, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye-bye.